Hi folks, welcome to the preparedhomestead.com. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching. Yeah, I know, it's another bumpy, squeaky, trucky, gravel road truck ride. But, you know, when you're really busy and you don't have time to just kind of stand there, well, this is what you get. Crazy stuff going on, and I'm going to talk about that. I do want to give an update for the dumped dog that we picked up. I know that some of you are still wondering. He's doing really good. We've kept him locked up for the most part because of this cold weather. He still hasn't put all his weight on, and you know, I'm pretty sure he's got arthritis and stuff, so the cold weather just does horrible for him. But next week weather's supposed to be really warm, so we'll be getting him out more, and probably can get him on the video so you folks can see him a little bit. But he's doing really good. I mean, not showing any signs of any real problems other than just what happens when they're abused and neglected. But as far as like some type of, you know, disease or anything he has, he's checked out really good. He's just, you know, he's mending it. It takes a while for them to fully come back from that level of neglect to where they're, I mean, the poor thing could barely even walk. He was so emaciated, so just, it was awful. But anyways, and he's just the sweetest thing. He is so, he's really come out of his shell. If you remember when we first got him, I said one of the reasons why I thought he'd, you know, obviously been abused, probably as like a puppy mill breeder, is that he acted like when you tried to pet him and love on him, like he didn't even know what that was. And so now, of course, he's come out of that. Boy, he likes it. You know, he likes the children playing with him and stuff. And so he's really coming out of his shell and starting to live like a dog should. But anyways, so JP Morgan Chase, which is the biggest of the big boys on the block when it comes to private banking, or at least that's what they tell us, made an announcement or released the information, however you want to put it, that there are hacking attempts about 45 billion times a day just on that bank. 45 billion times a day. That's a number that I don't know that most of us could wrap our heads around, other than the fact that our government spends way more than that and goes into more debt than that every day. I mean, we went into debt $1 trillion in the last 3 months and $2 trillion in the last 6 months. But other than that, 45 billion times a day, that's amazing. Now, the question is why are they talking about that? Why are they saying that? Are they saying that in a way to brag that our security is so top-notch that we can withstand 45 billion hacking attempts every day and still do good? Or is there some attempt there to disclose things, pre-warn us, so that when, you know, oh, there's this big hacking that's happened, kind of like in the movie that the Obamas produced a few months ago, when that happens, they're like, well, we've been telling you, they've been trying to hack us 45 billion times a day. You know, it's kind of like what I've said with the rockets that the Houthis shoot out. You shoot enough of them, and eventually one or two is going to make it through. And eventually 45 billion times a day, I would say the mathematical odds are pretty good. And I'm no computer science guy or anything like that, but I'm just from a hillbilly speaking, I would guess that 45 billion attempts a day, the odds are pretty good that at some point someone's going to break through that firewall. And when that happens, what does that mean? Does that mean that we're all going to collapse and everything's going to be over just because JP Morgan Chase was hacked? Probably not. But if they get brought down or hacked, it would certainly cause a domino effect when it comes to economic problems. That could, you know, people could panic. You know, the biggest bank there is just got hacked and taken down or locked up or whatever it happens to it. It could cause people to, bank runs, get their money out of the bank. The second or third biggest one, Bank of America, is already struggling right now, so people are starting to move money away from there. And then if something happens to JP Morgan Chase, well, who knows what'll happen. I think the bigger point is, though, is that I do tend to believe that this is being done to kind of give us a heads up, or at least set the stage, so that when it's apparent that there's this big cyber attack that's taken down a bunch of stuff and shut the whole country down, knocked everything offline to where we're completely dead in the water, that they can say, well, this has been happening. We've been saying about all these hacking attempts. I mean, even JP Morgan Chase has been dealing with it for 45 billion times a day. It's just they just finally made it through. I tend to think that a lot of preppers, mostly because of the age, and I'm not putting anyone down because of their age, but I think a lot of people don't quite wrap their heads around, and sometimes it's because of age, sometimes it's because they just don't think about it, lack of understanding of how much of everything that exists in our world is connected to the internet. That what it would mean if there was a major cyber attack that brought everything down. Communications, grid, services, all sorts of services, police, fire, EMS, hospitals, all of that could just get gone that quick. There's so much that could happen so quickly by a major cyber attack. And I don't think that very many people have really wrapped their heads around what exactly that would look like and mean. All right, I had to pause the video because someone that I knew was out getting their mail, and I had to be a neighborly person like you are out here in the sticks and stop and talk to them. But anyways, I don't think that most people really understand what could happen. That's why I think that video, that movie, that was all the buzz several weeks back, that the Obamas come out with, was really, I think that's why that was so significant. And according to many experts, that movie was, what little it showed, it was really more like psychological stuff in your head. But what it talked about was pretty accurate of what could potentially happen in a major cyber attack. The word on the street is that even Obama himself greatly contributed to the writing of it based on his knowledge as a former president. So we have to start thinking about this too. I know that many of you already do, but there's so many things. It's like I've said before, it's so hard to keep up because there's just so many different things going on at once. So many variables and possibilities of things that could be that final straw that breaks the camel's back. And I get that, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me. I know it's got to be overwhelming for a lot of you folks. Of where our focus is. Is Iran gonna nuke someone? They came out today saying they believe that Iran has the materials to build multiple nuclear warheads. Multiple. They probably already have multiple. But, they're letting you know that, hey, and there's stuff heating up between them and Pakistan, and of course, the Houthis and us, and Israel and Hamas, and all the stuff going in South America, and Ecuador, and Venezuela, and Ukraine, and Russia, NATO. NATO's doing the largest mobilization training exercise since the end of the Cold War, 90,000 troops. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff going on. The next, disease X and everything. And then you throw in there this one, the border crisis and everything. It's overwhelming to kind of stay focused on it. But this is something could be very devastating. Would it be as bad as like a big EMP type of thing? Maybe not, because there's certainly going to be things that will function. But anything that's tied to a system, anything that's tied to the grid, like cell phones and utilities, and a lot of new vehicles could be hacked and could be shut down. It's one of the reasons why I like these old squeaky ones. They're unhackable. This would be devastating to our society, and I talked about it today over in the locals video, in the sense that most people just are not psychologically, they're not mentally capable of really grasping what's going to happen. And when it does happen, they're just not mentally capable of seeing through it and shifting gears from modern comforts to I'm in survival mode, and these are the things I need to do to keep my head screwed on straight and survive. It's just going to be all out panic. And our world right now is so mentally unstable. There's so much heated tensions between different groups of people that it wouldn't take much to ignite that fire. And a cyber attack is certainly one of them. I've advocated for years you can have your backups online, you can have backups on your computer, information, books, whatever. But you need hard copies of stuff. You need hard copies of stuff, hard copies of your information, copies of documents. I've said before, every week or two you should be printing off or getting copies of your current bank statements so that you have, proof of how much money was in your bank. Have alternative communications, radios, or right here it is. I got stuff in, radios like this, or radios that's, in your vehicle. You need to have alternatives to that. Utilities, electricity, things like that, or just learn to do without, because all of those things, water, clean water, medical, all of those things will be done for if there is a major cyber attack. And that's going to be devastating, probably at least as devastating as an EMP. There's certainly going to be things that still function, but the cascading effects that's going to happen on society when that all goes down, it may feel just like an EMP. And so we got to get ready and get our houses in order and prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.